Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the South Standoff Script with me, Jez Davies. I'm joined with the second coolest man in Dereham, Morgan Hewitt. Hello, Morgan. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good, thank you.
Good. I can feel the enthusiasm absolutely dripping off you for today's episode. So this is going to be great.
Hang on. Isn't this our penultimate of the South of the off scripts?
Is it? It could be our last. So, but yeah, it's definitely up there as one of the last ones. So I guess without further ado, it's probably a good time to introduce our guest today, who is the coolest man in Dereham, Mr. Ben Page. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I like that intro. When you got the second coolest, I had a bit of an idea where you were going. Look at Morgan though. How is he? He's not the second coolest, is he? An overweight, bald Wimbledon fan. He's like basically a heartthrob.
Don't. I mean, I can't get through the door these days. Not because of all the fan mail, but just because I lost my keys.
Yeah.
This is called off script, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I was just about to say Morgan is the Celine Dion of Dereham Town FC. So
my heart will go on.
Yeah, near far wherever you are. Yeah. Good. So yeah, I mean, look, we've got you on because you are a fan of a team that have been promoted this season, which is well, I suppose first off, congratulations on that. Always good to see the Wombles. I don't know if you still call yourself that.
Yeah.
Go through the leagues.
It will always be the Wombles.
Yeah. No. So I mean, I think your story's relatively unique, isn't it? I think perhaps start off with the crazy gang of the late 80s, early 90s, and perhaps what that meant to you back then. And we'll start with that, I guess. The famous FA Cup win. What are your memories of that?
I mean, you might be overestimating how old I am. I mean, I know I've got a newborn and I look tired, but I was two. I was two when Wimbledon won the FA Cup. So my memories. My memories are very, very, very limited on that. Obviously, watched the final back two or three times. Have either of you guys ever watched that final?
Bits and pieces of it. I always remember Vinnie Jones going through a Liverpool player in the opening few minutes.
It's one of the.
That was the modern day. It's okay.
I was just going to say it's one of the worst. Being brought up in the with football in the kind of mid 90s onwards, watching that back is one of the most horrendous watches. I don't think it's unique to that particular game. I think the game was different then. So when obviously Wimbledon were the underdogs for the game and really needed to defend a lot and to make things uncomfortable for Liverpool. And the biggest tool that Wimbledon had then, and a lot of teams that were playing big name clubs, were you could pass back. So there was so much of the game where our defence just went back to Dave Besson and he would pick the ball up and boot it long, which obviously we became sort of synonymous with that long ball kind of play, because back then you run out of options, you pass back to keeper, they pick it up and knock it long. It's not an exciting game to watch. I think I've watched it, let's say 2 or 3 times for nostalgia. Those 2 or 3 times I've probably got up and made a cup of tea during the times where I know there's not a lot going on. But I mean, it's an incredible game. I mean, I think it was Beards. I'm sure it's Beardsley had a goal disallowed for Liverpool, which was obviously an absolutely crucial point in that game. Had that have counted, then it would have been a completely different result. Same with Aldridge missing that penalty, doing the discredit to Besson. If Besson hadn't have saved that Aldridge penalty, the result would have been completely different. It was one of those days in football and one of those games in football where everything just aligned, and it will. It won't be. I know there's been similar instances since, but I don't think that kind of gap in quality in teams, I don't think that will be done again. If it is ever done again, it'll be, it won't. It'll be a lot more of an exciting game. That's what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, in retrospect, looking at it as a fan of football, real fan of football in the 90s, where I think, not to take anything away from today's game, but it's a lot more like chess now. There was no excitement like those games from the 90s. But yeah, that's my memories of it, which are retrospective to. You didn't say he's going to insult me, Morgan. Or your memories of it, like I was 15 at the time.
No, I'm not. So for the audience at home who will be watching it, they will watch this. Me and Ben, we know each other quite well, so it's a real privilege, and I'm really excited for you to be on this. It's taken a few weeks to get you on this. And I was waiting for the opportunity to get you involved in the podcast, because I know you've got a lot to talk about in terms of both Wimbledon and Norwich, because you're based in Durham. You're originally from South London, aren't you?
I was born in Slough, and we were from that kind of area and moved up to my family. Our parents are all from Norfolk, so we moved up here when I was young. But you can take the boy out of Wimbledon, as they say.
Yeah,
you like that, don't you, Morgan?
I love it. But you know a little bit about Norwich as well. So it's kind of I suppose like Jez was Luton and me with Spurs. Norwich is probably your second team. Is that fair to say?
100%. I mean, I've been to more Norwich games than I have Wimbledon games, because when I was younger and it was kids for a quid at Carrow Road, for 2 seasons I went to almost every single home game. Back in the days of Craig Fleming, Malcolm Mackay, Ewan Roberts, Paul McVeigh, those kind of players. Norwich at their absolute finest. Used to go loads. So they became, and obviously when Wimbledon was taken over, was franchised, was destroyed, and that whole thing happened, Norwich, became someone for me to follow until, the phoenix rose kind of from the ashes. So they mean a lot to me. Jez has had enough.
Jez is gone. Don't worry, I'll keep it going. I mean, I think it's a really interesting, the Wimbledon story, the AFC Wimbledon story is really, really interesting. I think, let's start with you telling us about your first memories of supporting AFC Wimbledon and how that came about and where that took you.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, the one thing I don't know what your audience age demographic is, but you have to remember this happened back before the internet had really taken off. You relied on CFAX and teletext to get your football news and to follow what was going on. Unless, of course, you were wealthy, and he returns. Unless you're wealthy enough to have a Sky subscription, you really heavily relied on newspapers, CFAX, teletext, to see what was going on. And I lived in Norfolk, and I guess when Wimbledon disbanded, I was maybe 16, 17. So I was of an age where I was more interested in underage drinking, shagging, and not caring too much about football. So
it's a family podcast, Ben.
You can edit it. Okay. So I when Wimbledon disbanded, I was around about 16, 17, and I was more interested in doing things that teenagers of that age like to do. So I guess I knew there were things going on. I knew Ivor Heller was looking at trying to bring the club back. I knew the fans were kind of getting behind that, but you don't ever think that kind of thing's got any traction. And if it does, it's going to be an amateur football club playing, combined counties leagues and just bouncing around there. So I didn't really think a lot of it to start with. I did try and follow everything I could follow. I mean, there's Wimbledon fans out there who would be able to give you the whole background of that because they lived locally. I mean, I was in Norfolk, and I don't, I'm a big fan. I watch as many games as I can on iFollow, which is most of our games. But of late, I used to go to a lot of away games, but of late I haven't been able to so much. But there were people that could actually tell you everything that went on at that time. But for me, it was just seeing these little sparks that, oh, actually, we're in the Combined Counties League Division 3. We're top of that. Wow, what's going on here? And then at the end of the season, oh, we actually got promoted. That's good. And just kind of keeping an eye on what was happening whilst not massively supporting Norwich, but I was still following Norwich and enjoying watching Norwich. And it got to the point where it's like, well, we're hitting the National League South now, or whatever it was called then. Things could happen. Like, we could actually get back to the Football League and become a professional football team. So by this time, the internet's becoming more accessible. You can follow your team a bit more. It's still difficult to watch the team without traveling down to London. Again, early 20s, doing the things that lads in their early 20s do. And before I knew it, it's like, here we are, we're in the league, we're in the conference, and we're looking at playoff promotion hopes, and all of a sudden we're in League Two, and it's just, I've probably been following us when we were hit the National League South, and it was, it's just like, how has this actually picked up so much traction to the point where our attendance records were smashing everything in those leagues. We were getting better attendances than teams like Bradford, who were slipping down the league at that point. Slipping down the leagues from the Premier League. We were getting more fans in these tiny little Durham Town kind of stadiums, Morgan, that kind of thing, where you've got a small place to sit and stand in. We, filling these with like thousands of people, 2,000-3,000 of people. And it was, I think everyone started to take note when these attendance figures were going up, and it was like, we'd broken the record of consecutive promotions. It was just a really exciting time for diehard Wimbledon fans that were living there and going week in, week out. And for me, people that had lost their club and all of a sudden managed to find it again. Yeah,
I mean, just for those, I mean, there will be Norwich fans hopefully watching this, all 5 of them. But like, for the uninitiated, myself included, I remember the crazy gang of the early 90s, 93, 94. John Fashanu. Was it Marcus Gale you had as well?
Yeah, he played for AFC Wimbledon for a while at left back as well. He came over.
And obviously Vinnie Jones and so on. But what happened? Like, because obviously you had, we touched on this a second ago, but what actually happened to turn AFC Wimbledon's world upside down?
It was just financially driven, and the fact that we couldn't afford our own stadium, there was no room to build in London at the time, and I think it was the easiest thing to look outside of London, for the people who deal with the money. It was easier to look at away from London and not worry about the consequences of that and the people that would be affected by that. I mean, they do it in NFL all the time. Like these big NFL teams move across country, and all of a sudden you've got a big football team, American football team, coming into your backyard, and it's amazing. It doesn't work in the UK because one thing that I've found from going to, I didn't go to an American football game or soccer game, but when I was in America, I went to see the Detroit Red Wings ice hockey team play. They barely any fans follow away from home. So you go to these stadiums for most sport events in America, and it's just home fans. You can't do that in the UK because the whole away day thing, when it comes to any sport, is such a big part of the club, to the point where if you go on away days, there's so much more passion and so much more following from the fans on away days than what there is at home days. You can go to some stadiums in the UK and you're like, oh, they've got terrible fans. You know, we drowned them out. Like, their fans are terrible. Then you get them come to your backyard. Like, I hate to say it, I went to see Fulham Ipswich earlier on this year, and I've been to Portman Road loads, and their fans are quiet a lot of the time. I'm not going to slag them off because there might be some that are interested in this. But Fulham Ipswich, the Ipswich fans in that tiny little corner of Craven Cottage absolutely destroyed the place. Like, they were basically the sound of the stadium that day. Yeah, you guys. So that's why doing something like moving the club doesn't work. And when it's just money led and money orientated, nothing good's going to come. Which is why the majority of football fans in the UK don't have any time for Milton Keynes dons, or just Milton Keynes, I should call them.
Jez, I don't know what's your opinion on it, because I mean, obviously you're close to Milton Keynes as like the fact that you know you live near there. But what's your opinion?
Geographically close and close to my heart as well. Yeah. So I guess it killed Rushden and Diamonds first and foremost.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine was a Rushden and Diamonds fan, and is now actually a Borussia Dortmund fan because he didn't fancy supporting any other club in the UK. Another story. But no, it killed them. It didn't really kill any of the other clubs as such, but it was definitely an inconvenience having a club just rock up on your doorstep. And I've been torn because obviously it's a people thing, isn't it? I think the same, it saved the club, but it hasn't, because the club wasn't ever the club. You know, Milton Keynes should have done it the right way. They should have gone, right, well, if we want a club, let's go through the leagues, like AFC Wimbledon have done in the last 10 years. So it was a solution they tried to make that probably favoured Milton Keynes, but no one else. Yeah. That's my view on it. And you know, having worked in the city of Milton Keynes, because it is a city now. They ram that down your throat as soon as you drive through the barriers.
Is that concrete cathedral?
It's got a cathedral, but it's probably about 10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably got a university, but you're probably only going to be studying roundabouts there.
We've been through this. Yes.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year.
Had an old episode. We had an episode. He'll hopefully be listening to this because he does tune in regularly. But Jody the roadie, shout out. He came on and was talking. You know, what was he talking about, Morgan? Just being a fan that was travelling around the world, and somehow we managed to end up talking about Milton Keynes and dedicate a whole episode to it. So it's probably not.
You dedicated it.
No, I think we all did. I think we all had a play in it, but it's probably not something. That's probably a bit of a swear word to a Wimbledon fan, isn't it? That name. So, have you ever been to Milton Keynes, Ben?
I've been
to the stadium and the game.
I've been to Milton Keynes. I haven't been to the stadium, and I probably wouldn't be interested in going. I just try not to be too bitter about it. Like, there's a lot of Wimbledon fans that, you know, really, really hate Milton Keynes, and it's not their fans' fault that it happened, and they've, you know, it's not you're in Milton Keynes. Where else are you going to go to watch a football club? Like, you might as well. I don't know how many people, if they were being honest, Wimbledon fans are being honest. If you lived in a city that has a concrete cathedral, if you lived in a city that didn't have a football team, and all of a sudden it's got this big stadium, it's got this football team, it's got big backings, decent sponsors, like good facilities. Would if I lived in Milton Keynes, I didn't have an affiliation to a team, and you've got to remember as well that once a club outgrows the people, and you've got all the young kids, of course they're going to support that team because it's their local team. So I just think there's no point in being bitter about it anymore. I just don't care. Like, no. It is what it. But it is nice that we're in League One and they're in League Two.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
exactly,
it, isn't it? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And what I really want to move on to is, where did that come from? Because we spoke about this at the start of last season, and you weren't particularly hopeful. And I kept my eye out for AFC Wimbledon scores throughout the entire season. And then I think you messaged me on the day that you won at Wembley. And I was like, that meant that you could come on this podcast, because obviously the whole like promotion through the leagues kind of thing. Just talk us through last season. What on earth happened?
It wasn't a nice season, because there's a lot of Wimbledon fans, and I'm only seeing this on through things on Instagram. Like most fans are quite fickle, and near the start of the season there was a lot of Jackson out going around, and I like Johnny Jackson. I think he's quite forward thinking. He's a young guy. He's got his links with Charlton, which has helped us in his early days getting players on loan and things like that. Thanks, Alexa. She's just telling me there's someone at my front door. I think he's a good manager, and he was someone different to what we'd had out of the previous, since Neil Ardley. Neil Ardley was the last manager I was really into, ex-Wimbledon, kind of forward thinking. He's kind of not done a lot, really, bless him, following Wimbledon. But anyway, so we kind of started off, and it was a bit sporadic, and it's one of those seasons where you pick up some form and you think, here we go, like Matty Stevens scoring for fun, like top goal scorer in the league, and then then the teams around us that were around us would start doing poorly, and we're jumping up and we're flirting with second. Obviously, there was the flood. I mean, that hindered us a little bit. One thing I would say about that is shout out to Newcastle United for the help that they gave us at that time, and donated. They didn't donate a huge amount of money, but it was some. I think they gave us an additional portion of the ticket sales for the Carabao Cup game as well, which is another nice thing about like lower league football. You get some of the big boys will be like, okay, it's a football family. So that flood hindered us, and that could have gone the other total opposite direction to what it did do after that. Is we could have lost all momentum, and because how many games do we have in hand? Like 5 or 6 games we had in hand. But we just got on this run of form, and it just kept going and going and going. And then Matty Stevens stopped scoring. A bit like the whole, I can't remember his name, at Walsall, when he went back to wherever it was where he was on loan. Matty Stevens stopped scoring, and all of a sudden we're struggling for goals. Our defence was insanely good. Like Owen Goodman was top. I'm pretty sure it ended up with the most clean sheets in the league. Our defence most clean sheets in the league. We were defending so well, but we couldn't score. So we would lose games 1-0, or we'd draw games 1-1, and we might eke out a win every now and again 1-0. And we were just struggling so much for goals, and we started tumbling a little bit. But then everyone else did. So all the teams that were, Walsall were running away with it. All of a sudden, Walsall dropped, and you got this switch where Bradford are up there, and I can't think of the other team that got promoted now.
Doncaster?
I might, baby. I'm going to put it down to lack of sleep. But the teams that overtook and started doing really well.
Bradford.
Bradford. There's another team. Anyway, so all those teams that were like doing really well dropped down, and then all those other teams that took over. But we kind of just stayed where we were. It's like our form's not that great, but we're picking up draws where teams around us were losing. And at this point of the season, I'm just like, we can smell automatic promotion. Like, we just need to win one of these games that we're drawing. We need to win. And we didn't, and it just kept going like that. And it got to the end of the season, and it's like, oh, great, here we go, playoffs. And then, do we talk about Sam Hutchinson having a heart attack against Grimsby and then scoring and playing the rest of the game? Like, you don't get that in any other league. Guy had a heart attack, played the whole game, and scored. Yeah, signed a new contract. I'm not surprised either. I'm not surprised we gave him it.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I think that kind of epitomizes as well the type of club that Wimbledon are. Is you've got players like that who, I mean, if I had a heart attack, I probably wouldn't play the rest of the game, but just digging in. So the whole season was so stop-start after that like purple patch, and it was stressful. Yeah. And if you could have seen me, I was going to go to Wembley, but then Lucy was my wife, really heavily pregnant, and I just didn't want to be away from her in case anything happened. So I watched it on TV, and 80 minutes I was pacing. At the 80th minute, I was like pacing around the house. I was like peeking in from around the doors, like almost like when you watch a scary film, you're like hiding behind a cushion or something. And the elation when it finished, and I think one of the first things I did was message Morgan just to.
You did.
Yeah,
I was like, great, you can come on the Beyond the South stand now. So
and just waffle on.
Because I mean,
that's great. I love the story.
Really, yeah, I mean, I think like Jez, I mean, you can draw so obviously Jez, we talk about this a lot. I give him shit for it all the time. Jez's second team's Luton. But can you draw comparisons between Luton and the AFC Wimbledon, Jez?
So I think it's yes and no. I think it's quite a different story, isn't it? Because Wimbledon went out of existence, and that was kind of it. Not it, you know what I mean? They then had to start afresh because of the whole aforementioned Milton Keynes fiasco. So I think it was a very different journey, and one of what's the word I'm looking for here? Almost like a bigger story almost, because they literally had to start from scratch. Whereas Luton went down to a certain level, stayed there for a few years, and then went all the way back up again. So I guess, really, as I say, very different stories, but no, equally good to see Wimbledon coming back through again. And I guess sort of the next question really is, Ben, is what's next? Do you foresee a time where Wimbledon could do the unthinkable and perhaps go all the way back up again?
I mean, we're bookies' favourite to go down, so we'll throw that. The difficulty is being a fan-owned club, and luckily we've had a bit of financial input this year through John Green, the author, the American author, who's he sponsored our shorts for ages with his "Don't Forget to Be Awesome" logo, which is a bit cheesy, but the guy's amazing for the club. Again, other fans have different views on him. I like the guy. Some of his books have been made into movies, so he's obviously got a little bit of money, not Ryan Reynolds kind of money. But him and some of his friends have just invested, I think, maybe a 1 or 2% stake within the club. And the money that they've invested is going to go towards some of the debt we have, which honestly isn't a great deal. But the less debt, and Norwich fans probably, I don't know if they'll agree with this, because sometimes not having any debt means that you go stagnant. But Norwich are in such a strong position from not having much debt, where things could start progressing really quickly under the right leadership. So I kind of think the same for us. If we don't have any debt, and then any money we do have can look to snowballing into something good. I mean,
are you still there, Morgan?
He looks like he's frozen. I think the promising thing would be that last season, Alistair Smith was one of our key midfielders on loan. He signed permanently. We signed Marcus Brown, who, let's be fair, should have been. I think the thing we're moving forwards is getting the right people, and with our transfers this year, keeping Alistair Smith after his loan spell is massive. Signing Marcus Brown again after his temporary contract is huge for us. He'll be a massive player for us. We re-signed Steve Seddon and Joe McDonnell, who've played for us in the past, just a bit of experience. We haven't gone like massive on loan players, which I think if you're going to move forwards, that's the kind of thing you need. Can you move forwards and get to the Championship with a fan-owned club? I don't know.
I just want to delve into that a bit more because, again, for other viewers of this that aren't Don's fans, explain the fan-owned club thing.
So to the point where I understand it. So very basically, any fan can own shares within the club. So I pay whatever it is a year, 30 or 40, 50 quid, I don't know, I can't remember. Goes out my bank every year and I get to keep my one share in AFC Wimbledon. Okay. We own, I guess, I don't know what the actual numbers are. I guess we own the majority, so at least a 51% share within the club. And then there are investors and then this, like the John Green and Friends investment as well. But most of so basically what it means is most of the money comes from funding and from fans doing fundraising and donating money. And obviously now we've got the bigger stadium, which has a capacity of close to 10,000 with the, or maybe more than 10,000 with the opportunity to expand should the need arise. Tickets are, so there's no money coming in from anywhere other than Football Manager, sponsorship, fans, and the small investors that we do have. So it means that money is tight and it has to be spent in the right places.
I mean, it's something, I guess, Jez, I mean, you can draw parallels to Norwich when we were playing with the big boys. Like, we didn't have the, I mean, I know it's completely different in a way, Ben. I appreciate that it is completely different in a way. But we tried to do the right thing.
I don't think, no, exactly, Morgan. I don't think it is that different. It's just obviously, it's just the levels. And, you know, I listened to another. Yeah, exactly. I listened to a podcast that focuses around Exeter City, and they're fan owned. And one of the things they always discuss is the fact that, you know, they can pretty much hold they've got a good, decent manager, Gareth Caldwell. They've got one or two quite good players. They've got a very good academy. And that's a lot of where they get their revenue from. So the likes of Ollie Watkins has been through there in recent years, Ethan Ampadu, etc. And, you know, the point I'm making is, yes, you can do the fan-owned thing, but probably only to a level, to a point.
There's so I forgot to mention that with Jack Rodoni, obviously at Huddersfield, a lot of our income has come through the academy players. Ali Al-Hamadi went to Ipswich for like over $1 million, so that helps. I think you actually Exeter a great example, because I think when it comes to like the youth side of things, I think we probably copied them to a certain extent, where it's like, let's invest in the youth setup because that's a lot cheaper to invest in the youth side of things. And if you've been in London as well, which is more helpful, you're going to attract your net, like Norwich, your youth net is very small because you've got to cast it over. If you cast that net over all of East Anglia, it's a big area, where South London on its own, you've got, well, over 1 million people living, probably over 3 million people living in South London. So you're right though, Jez. I think there's a ceiling, and the reason that Wrexham, who are also like a fan-owned club, have now gone through that is because they took the very difficult but very wise decision to let somebody invest in that club. And I can only go on what I've read and watching the documentary. I think they found the perfect investors for that. Like as much of a circus as the whole thing was, I think Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are actually trying to run a football club the way that football clubs should be run. And they're probably the only two people in the country. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but they're two of the few people in the country that are trying to run football clubs because it's something they're passionate about, because they want the best for this club.
So just to self-advertise for those who are watching this that haven't seen it, we did another off script Beyond the South Stand off script with Wayne Jones. So the pub landlord of that featured in the Wrexham documentary, and you know we talked in depth about their time in the wilderness, and just how much Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, really, they love it. They're there, they're passionate about it, and I think that it's something to be said when you have investors that they care about what they're doing, and I think it's tough. Like at the moment, Norwich are in a weird place. I think that we've just been, obviously, for those who don't know, we've just been taken over the last 18 months, 2 years, by an American business consortium, who are making all the right noises about caring about it. So, but the proof in the pudding is in the eating. What happens this season? What happens next season? The season after? But I think that I know what you're saying about the media circus around Ryan Reynolds and so on. But I think you're right. Like it's, I think they're in this for the right reasons.
And I think the reason I raised that is because at some point, if your club wants to reach the Premier League, of which we all know you can fall from grace very, very quickly. But to reach the Premier League in the first place, and just touching on what you said, Jez, I remember playing Luton in the conference, and to see Luton go up and get into the Premier League. I said to a fan at the time, and this was just on Instagram or something like that, they were being hounded by somebody or other after getting promotion to Premiership. And I just said, just ignore all the noise and just enjoy it. You guys were playing in the conference not that long ago. Don't worry about what happens in the Premier League. Just enjoy the fact that you're there, because like that is a massive feat on its own. And for Wimbledon to ever reach the Premier League again, what would we need to do? We probably would need to sell to a large investor, but it has to be. It can't be Sam Haman. It's got to be the right investor. It's got to be. And how do you know? Like if you've got two like almost idiots, like Ryan Reynolds plays the idiot, Rob McElhenney plays a bit of an idiot. Like so, in their respective film genres and shows. Like so, when they come to you with this like plan, and you've got the head of the fans' ownership looking at this, and the board are going to decide on it. How do you know? I mean, Wrexham must have taken a bit of a gamble, or McElhenney and Reynolds had a really, really good presentation. How do you trust your club that you've worked so hard for, being like, with a bit of a thing for Exeter? How do you let go of that, thinking what happened last time we didn't have control over our club? It's going to be really difficult to forget that. How do we let this go to continue on and progress to get to the Premier League? Maybe those conversations aren't even being had. I don't know.
I'm with you, and I think it's. And sorry to interrupt, because I'll forget otherwise. Is the fact that actually the whole reason you're in this position of this fan-led, ownership model is because of what's happened in the past. So actually, are you then effectively forgetting all of your philosophies and principles by then going, well, actually, they're gone, then let's set the club again and see what happens. Let's roll the dice. And it's sort of like you're then back to square one again if it all goes tits up. It's crazy, isn't it? And I think you made the point of Luton as well. That we had a very interesting guest last week. Actually, the episode went out today as we're recording. Who's he's actually linked to Wrexham because he calls himself Luton Deadpool. So he actually goes around Luton. Go for it.
Sorry, just give me one second.
You're fine. We'll pause.
Oh, hello.
This is a first for Beyond the South Stands and Beyond the Barclay, isn't it, Morgan? We now have a live baby. Fantastic. And I don't mean Ben. Okay, anyway. Yes, we were talking about, he's got links to Wrexham kind of, because he dresses as Deadpool and goes into Luton Town Centre and raises a lot of money. So, so at the point, you're going to be playing him again next season because obviously they're falling down. And the point that he made there was they rose so far to fall so far down again is that they kind of almost sort of like it came too quickly for them. that success come too quickly. So you kind of got to. You're right, Ben.
Yeah. Carry on. I'll hide him a little bit.
He's fine. He's absolutely fine. It's nice to see. As Morgan continually says, this is a family show, and this is
catchphrase.
This is the true meaning of that, isn't it? So, I mean, Morgan, should we do the random question of the week?
Do you know about this, Ben?
You said something about the random question of the week, and it could be quite obscure.
Every time I come up, we usually, so the whole premise of this thing is off script. So usually Jez will concoct a bunch of questions and send them over to the fan. But I was like, well, what this summer? Let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. But there's obviously always the random question of the week, which is about what I'm going to unleash on you now. It's in keeping with it's in keeping with a theme, a constant theme in our relationship, Ben. So I have to spin the chair because if I don't, I get told off.
Get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. Random question of the week. Ben.
Jez is not overly impressed with that by the looks of things.
No, I've seen
it about 400 times. So.
Is that a staple? So that is a staple. That happens every time.
Every week.
Every week.
Yeah.
Otherwise I get my hand slapped. So it's a constant theme between my relation. You and Jez have a symbiotic kind of. There's a link between you both. Both of you love this haircut. This, don't you? You always bring it up every single time. There's an opportunity to talk about my hair.
Barney of the week.
Barney. But Ben,
you won that.
But Ben, we've been there many times in the Cock, which is a pub in Durham, not anything else. Shout out to the Cock in Durham.
It's closed,
Ben,
mate.
If you could, well, I'll be back soon. If you could have any kind of haircut, type, color, style, what would it be and why?
I think it's got to be a mullet, hasn't it? All business at the front and a party at the back.
Okay, but what?
No, seriously though. Have any of you watched Strange New Worlds, the new Star Trek thing on Paramount Plus?
No, there are other sci-fi shows out there.
There are, but they're not relevant to this question. I got my bit of a sci-fi nerd, stormtrooper in my class. So it's basically it's a show that follows Captain Pike, and the guy who plays him is Anson someone or other, because again my brain's not working, and he has similar hair to you in a way, Morgan, but he's like a silver fox. And I was watching it the other day, and Lucy came in, and I just said to her, I was like, look how good this guy looks for being like in his 50s. Let me see if I can get a photograph of him. His hair is like incredible, and if I could have reached even 22 with this volume of hair, I'd have been very happy. There's got to be a photo of him somewhere.
So for the viewers at home, Ben has only just started to be able to kind of grow a beard. I
can't grow a beard. Don't exaggerate it. I can't grow a beard. This is about.
I'm getting a little flex. I'm getting a little flex in.
This is almost a week's growth.
I don't know if it's because you sit him so far back, Ben, but you remind me a bit of Stuart Bingham, the snooker player.
Stuart Bingham. I don't even know who that is, but is that a compliment?
Just take it.
He's a for a snooker player, relatively good-looking lad, I'd say.
Right, look at this, Barnet and Morgan. When yours goes grey and you stop dyeing it, you too could have a Barnet like this.
I don't dye my hair.
Look at that
Oh, yeah.
Barnet.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
Darren Huckabee-esque, I'd say.
What a distinguished gentleman. So that would be my hair because
Very good.
one, I'd love to have ever been able to go grey. Like that would have been cool to go grey.
Your eyebrows might go grey.
Shut up, Morgan. They're ginger anyway. It's because just go from ginger to grey. And two, to have that kind of volume and to look as handsome as Morgan Hewitt would just be like a dream come true.
This is why I hang out with him, Jez. That's why I hang out with him. Jez, what about you? Because of late, Jez, through most episodes, has been doing this loads. And I pulled him up on it the other day. I said, "What's wrong? Why do you keep running your fingers through your hair, Jez?"
Yeah, I mean the problem these days is I haven't got a 4-head anymore. I've got a 6-head. it's unfortunately it's going to keep going back, I think. But the problem, I don't know. I'd quite like it, sort of like a bit of a Barry Blowback effect with it shaved at the back, but still all cut in nice. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
You know what I mean?
So
yeah, it's a bit like the old Ice Gem.
So is that what? So what's your favourite style? What would you want?
I mean, I usually sort of just have it across like that, and flicks in. But I get the problem I have is I like having a haircut, which sounds strange, maybe, I don't know, but I haven't got the patience for it to grow to have that kind of effect of it sort of going back, if that makes sense. So it's never actually long enough to get the style that I want. So yeah, that would be my answer. I'd like a little
like hipster, the little hipster rat tail or something.
Definitely not the bun.
Slicked right back, shaved. You got the right head for that. The little hipster. Yeah. You're gonna round glasses.
Failing that, shall I go for the Taribo West?
Yeah. You mean like a Jedi, basically?
No, he had the old like bunches, didn't he, either side that were green because depending on who he played for. If he played for Inter Milan, they were blue. But if he played for Nigeria, they were green. You must remember Taribo West.
Yeah, I didn't know he did that though.
Yeah, I'm almost certain he did. I might be massively off that, but I'm almost certain he used to do that. Gentlemen, it's been brilliant. I've absolutely I've really enjoyed hearing about Wimbledon, and it's as I said at the very start, it's such a unique story, and I really hope that I really hope they do well next season. Ben, is there anyone you want to give a little shout out to?
I mean, just the people that are doing everything, the volunteers at Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon, who are there day in, day out, giving their time for free. Just all, the staff and everyone, but the people that keep the club going, that, the unsung heroes who get absolutely nada for it, is the volunteers. And there's a huge amount of diehard volunteers at AFC Wimbledon. So I'm going to give them a shout out because they deserve it, rather than shouting out anybody that I know for no reason. So yeah, those guys keep up the hard work. Without you guys, the club wouldn't exist, because the monetary saving there is humongous. So I genuinely believe, and I think a lot of people at the club would believe, the club wouldn't exist without those volunteers. So thanks for your hard work.
Yeah, no, thank you. And Morgan, we've got some big episodes coming up next few weeks, haven't we, my friend? Perhaps you'd like to just give a flavour for what we've got coming up in August.
So on Bet, let's sort of off the back of what Ben said, we've got fan of the year, Sue Cottrell, who works really hard for the Community Sports Foundation for Norwich. Also. The head Ian of a Community Sports Foundation. We'll be chatting to him, and we're releasing an episode involving Chris Reeve as well, who's of Talk Norwich City fame, one of the most prominent Norwich City themed podcasts out there, who does an incredible job. Him and Jack Reeve, can't be understated how much investment they have in the club and the work they put in. So it's kind of keeping in that theme of what you said, Ben, about community. But yeah, I mean, that's going to keep us busy over the course of the next month, as well as the start of the new season, guys.
Absolutely. And this episode was kindly supported and sponsored by Master Seal.
So if you ever need
Thank you, Master Seal.
Thank you, Master Seal. If there's any like sealant that you need around your bathtub, Master Seal.
They're the guys. And I'll put a link in the all the doodah for that. That's the technical term, Ben. Let's have a look at the baby then before you go. If you're comfortable.
Miles. His name's Miles.
Sorry?
I said, let's have a look at the baby if you're comfortable.
Here he is.
Miles.
He'll either be a future Don or he'll be a Spurs fan because my father-in-law is a big Spurs fan, and either that or he'll be Norwich. And quite frankly, if he's Norwich, I'll be happy about it because I can go and watch a load of games with him. I don't think he'll be interested in the standard of football Wimbledon are playing. So if he really loves football, he's going to end up following like Spurs or Man City. But I'll try my best to make it like a local team.
The good thing is about Miles is he looks like Lucy.
Yeah.
He's got more. I was going to say he's got more hair than you as well, Ben. So that's
literally his whole life he's had more hair than me. Yeah, depressing. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me on. It's been fun. It's been nice to just talk about Wimbledon without anyone going, "This is boring." That's probably the most I've ever spoken about my team.
We're happy.
Good luck with what you guys are doing because like Morgan keeps me afloat of what's going on. I haven't listened to anywhere near as much as I should have. In fact, the only episode I listened to in full was the Chris Gorham one, which that was really early days when you spoke with Chris Gorham, and that I thought was really, really interesting because he's just a fantastic guy. But I'll have to listen to some more. I'll get Morgan to give me like his top 10 picks and this. You guys are doing quite well from what I hear. That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you. I mean, any of the episodes before January generally consider the better ones, but January after are quite good as well, to be honest. So yeah, no, definitely. Just on that, Ben, that's when Morgan got involved in January. So yeah, there we go. So for everyone watching, go on.
No, I was about to say, do your usual official voice.
Ben, every time it comes to the end of the episode, Morgan goes, "Can you just do the?" And I'm just about to go into it. It's my next breath. So for everyone else watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for supporting the Beyond the South Standoff script series. You can watch the show on YouTube. You can listen to every single episode on all of our podcast channels.
So I'll finish.
Just like that, he's gone.
He's gone. So this is the first time I've got to do this sensibly. You can watch us on YouTube, obviously. Here we are, visual and all that stuff. But you can also listen to Beyond the South Stand, and for those interested in any Norwich goings on, Beyond the Barclay, which is across all the usual channels, so like Spotify, Apple.
We're also available on Facebook, Instagram.
That was amazing. The fact that you just came in just like that, just like technical difficulties. We don't even